Hi, my name's Adam Regal. Happy New Year. Hopefully you are safe and you had a good New Year's Eve, and obviously you're still around to be able to enjoy all the snow that has us enraptured here in 2014. I'm wondering though, was your New Year's Eve as bad as my New Year's Eve? Now, nothing really happened. I wasn't involved in an accident or anything like that, but I decided to ring out 2013 with a couple of movies. Now, the selection, I thought, was a good one. It was This Is the End, the comedy, with pretty much everybody who's been in any Judd Apatow movie over the last 10 years, and the Wolverine. If you know me, big comic book geek, I've got tattoos, own a bunch of comic books. So, decided to go with the Wolverine as the second movie. Now, a little bit of backstory, because when the movie was coming out, I didn't think that it was that good. I didn't think it was going to look that good. It just looked like it was kind of a boring movie. And so that was the feeling that I got. Didn't want to go see it in the theaters. And then, for whatever reason, sometime between when the movie came out and when it came out on DVD, I convinced myself that this looks like a good movie. Like, this is going to be fun, and, you know, it's Wolverine. You can't go wrong. Hugh Jackman, gotta love the guy. And then, yeah. Really, I should have went off of my first feeling that the movie wasn't going to be very good, because it wasn't very good. I didn't even finish it. I fell asleep during it. I had to have the wife fill me in on what actually happened to round out the movie, and part of the reason why was just because a lot of it didn't make sense. In the continuity of Wolverine and Wolverine Origins and the X-Men trilogy and even the First Class and everything else that they have going on right now, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't follow along with their timeline. Now, I took some notes because, well, I need to keep things in order here because it's a little rattled up here in the brains. But, so, the whole point of the movie is Wolverine starts off as a prisoner of war in a Japanese war camp, and he ends up saving a guy's life named Yashida. And later on, in the future or present time or whatever, he ends up meeting up with somebody who is the bodyguard for Yashida and wants him to bring him over so he could say goodbye to him before he's on his deathbed. And then he offers up to take the adamantium out of his bones and put it in him and to, you know, have this cure-all so Wolverine's curse of not being able to die is lifted from him, and this guy who is about to die, who's done some good, is going to be able to live on. Well, the only problem with that is that, A, Wolverine met this guy during World War II, which was, 1940s, well, there's a little thing that happened at the end of Origins where he gets a bullet put in his head that's supposed to erase his memory, yet somehow, in the Wolverine, he remembers this guy. Don't get it, but that's the logic, I guess, for the way that this movie is going with. The other problem is that, according to the timeline, again, from the Origins movie, Wolverine doesn't get the adamantium onto his bones until the 80s, I think they say, because the timeline says something about 1975, and then 6 years later, he ends up meeting up with Stryker and gets the adamantium put on his bones. Well, again, the guy says that back in the 40s, he was working on this technology and was experimenting. So, for, 30-some years, they've sat on this technology and did nothing with it? Something smells a little bit fishy right there. Hugh Jackman was not able to save this movie. It just wasn't very good. It didn't keep my attention, and I was very disappointed that that was the last movie of 2013, especially since we watched right before that This Is the End, which was hilarious. That stars James Franco, Seth Rogen, Jay Baruchel, a whole cast of a bunch of very funny guys, and the movie lived up to the billing that I had for it. Very funny, though it did have some scenes that were drawn out and kind of boring. But still, it was a very good movie, which makes it all the more disappointing that we've rounded out 2013 with the Wolverine. I would say don't watch the movie. Even if you're a comic book fan, don't watch it. My guess is that they're hoping that the Days of Future Past just goes back and eliminates every plot hole that they've had from the previous 5 or 6 movies. But you know what? It doesn't cut it. That's lazy writing on your part, and that was a bad movie. Shame on you, Hugh Jackman, and whoever else was a part of creating that movie. Bad part on you guys. That's going to do it for this post. I'm going to try and keep things up to date every day with sports, pop culture, whatever's going on in our lives. So make sure you check it out. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.